Good morning. I didn't really know what to do for this week because I am not a New Year's girly. I think I said that in the last video. I don't really care about a new year. I don't do resolutions, resets, whatever it is you want to call it. Vision boards are just not within. So the way I feel, and this is just personal opinion, means nothing. I don't think things like vision boards or manifestation or anything like that is biblically sound. I think it's more secular, so I personally choose to stay away from it. I don't want to invite that kind of, it's just me, right? So I don't do any of that. I feel like if you want to make a change, like people make resolutions, you don't need a certain day of the year to do that. You can do that on like a random Tuesday in October, you can do it whenever you feel that you need a change. And so I just am not a New Year's girly. So I did get a new calendar. I got a new digital calendar. I don't do paper anymore. I think I've talked about it before. I am what I consider to be a 100% digital nomad. And paper, I have a notebook that I jot things down in, like all the kids that failed yearbook this semester. Wrote that out. So, I mean, there are things that I have that are paper, but realistically, I am a digital girl and I don't do New Year's. So it's like, well, what am I going to film? I didn't get any new bags because I'm trying to save money. And I've just been going through it with the 2 Gucci belt bags that I have. Even the Lululemons, I've just put them aside, and it's been the 2 Guccis. The fabric one and this one, they're both discontinued, and I love them, and they're the perfect size. So I was like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to film a day with me. And I brought my camera, which I don't use in the car because it gives too wide of a shot and too much actual location information. So I'll just save this for the rest of the day. But my day started and I wasn't filming anything. My day started with my dad calling me at 6 a.m, all flipped out because, there's either no one at the pool or the pool is closed. All flipped out because he had a priority package and he isn't sure if the priority package made it to its location. And he couldn't figure out how to do tracking, and so he just started yelling at me at 6 a.m. It got there. I was able to track it in literally 2 seconds, but that's the way I started my day. That's life with old people. So it looks like it's really foggy, and we're gonna go swim. My towel, I didn't bring my towel in yesterday, so it's still kind of wet. That's gross. Anyway, my day is just, it's not starting, we're not starting the way I wanted to start, but that's okay because we're starting, and that's the important thing. Look at this fog. Isn't this insane? It's insanely foggy out. I am going swimming, but it is so foggy today. I can't believe it. work permit. So if you hear like craziness going on behind me, our printer is super loud and you hear that. So I haven't had any time to really come on camera and film. It's been crazy. We started the week with the death of poor Cheez-It the fish. Then we realized that the fish that we had adopted from the pool had ick. So we went out, we got ick medicine really fast and got them healed. They're doing great. They're doing really well. And what else did we end up doing? She had a sleepover. I feel like there was other stuff that just made this week difficult, but now I'm depressed because I have to go back to work. And I know I'm very blessed to have all of this time off. I get that. At the same time, I really do like my job. When I say I love my job, there are moments for sure. But one of the things that has just been weighing heavily on me for the past year or so has been the fact that I run the yearbook and there's supposed to be teacher recommendation prerequisite to get into the class, but the people that schedule, the counselors, don't really respect that most of the time and just place whoever in the class. And if my workers outweigh my non-workers, you know, the very first year I did it, it was during COVID, and I had kids that I had approved. And, sorry, the printer scares me. It gets caught on things. It has all kinds of problems. But anyway, my workers outweighed my non-workers. And even though we, oh no, what is the printer doing? Hold up. I don't know what it does. Anyway, my workers outweighed my non-workers. So even though we went off for COVID and literally we were doing this via Zoom, we were getting pictures from online, we were asking kids to send stuff in, and we had 260 pages versus 160 pages, we got it done. We got it done. So I'm very proud of that. Even the next year, when we were on Zoom, the majority of the kids were pre-approved, and we got it done via Zoom, you guys. The title of that yearbook was Zooming into the Future. I mean, come on. You got to give us credit there, right? But this year, the counselors have placed more non-workers in my class than workers. And these kids will sit in the back of the room and like play cards, do nothing. I give them assignments. They just don't do them. They just plain don't do them. And then part of yearbook is you have to walk around school to get interviews, and without direct line in my sight, and I have to trust these kids. I'm working the entire time with the kids that are working. I've got a line of children at my desk asking for things, asking for edits, asking for passes, asking for interviews, asking for email addresses. I can't constantly watch the non-workers, and they'll escape. They'll walk around campus. They'll cause problems for security. And then I get the backlash from that. Then the non-workers, they still have to be given like an opportunity to pass the class. So I assign them pages it doesn't get done, and either the other kids in the class or myself, like I have to do the work. If they don't do the work, somebody has to do the work. And it creates tension and animosity because everybody knows that those are the non-workers and that they're just, you know, kids don't really, some of the kids care about grades, but other kids are just like, why do they get to be here and basically just have a class period off and do nothing? It's just, and the class is overcrowded. So I'm supposed to have a cap of 36 and I'll have 40, which I know you're thinking that doesn't make a huge difference. But if those extra children are the non-workers, you know, it's a huge problem. So that's where we're at. And I think that is a lot of my depression. You're burning out teachers by not having school support, if that makes sense. What I really need is I need the counselors to be like, you know what? I don't have a place to put this kid 5th period, but this kid is not responsible. They get in trouble a lot.
they've failed multiple classes, I'm not gonna give that kid to Carolyn because that's not fair. She has a job too. Because kids, like parents and children pay $100 for a yearbook. It has to be quality. I can't just be like, well, you didn't do your page. It's going to be blank. We're just going to miss this deadline. Like our publisher is not going to give us extra time because I have kids in that class that like, even when our publisher comes in to talk to these kids, they're like, why are these kids allowed to be in here? I'm like, because the principal and the counselors put them in here and I have zero support to get them out. So that's where my depression, that's really where it is. I have no help. Like there's nothing I can do other than, fail and that's what they'll tell me. Just fail them. Well, somebody still has to do the work. It's still stressful. You're still putting okay, I failed them, but it didn't do anything. Like you didn't help me at all. You just gave me kids to babysit and then said, well, that's your problem. Just fail them. And you still have to do a yearbook and you still have to edit it and it's really not fair. So those are the things that I'm sort of dealing with. For example, I'll have kids that work really hard. They're hard workers, but they're not. Spelling and grammar just isn't their talent, okay? That requires a lot of editing on my part, but that's my job. That is my job. That is my job. That is the student editor's job to go through these pages and be like, ooh, yeah, proper names need a capital letter, right? But the kid put it all together and really tried. So I can take on those kids, right? It's the kids that are the discipline problems that do absolutely nothing that cause a lot of problems. So I wrote an email to the counselors. I'm going to copy the principal and all of the vice principals on it. And, I don't have high hopes of support, honestly. I have no hope that this is going to change things. But if you wonder why teachers are depressed or have issues, this would be why. If you don't support us and don't help us to do our job, then yeah, we have a burnout. I've been doing this for 20 years. I have burnout because you keep placing these children in my class that shouldn't be there. It's okay to have a prerequisite. It's okay to say no to somebody and say you don't have the talent or the ability to do this job. And I think we've focused so much on self-esteem, mental health, saying no to a kid. You know what? No, you can't be in your book. I have a kid. One of the kids legitimately has a history of stalking other kids. And I think there's been a restraining order out. The kid has produced no work, doesn't do anything. Nice enough kid. Face to face, nice enough kid, honestly. Kind of like the guy. But this is not a kid you should have put in your book because they have to walk around campus. How do I rein him in? What, you can't go out and do interviews? You have to do your interviews after school, but this kid, it's too much. It's really too much. So, experiencing some burnout. I think at one point in my life, probably 2 years ago or so, I had hoped that YouTube would bring in some supplemental money and that I could kind of have a little side gig going that would alleviate some of my stress in the sense of, well, I can always do something else. And I had that when I was going out and I was presenting and I was doing when I did the whole side gig of ed tech and I was going out and I was consulting and I was doing presentations. And that sort of was a huge COVID thing because technology was big on the forefront, but now everybody sort of knows how to use Google Classroom and everybody sort of knows how to, engage students on Zoom, and all of that isn't really a thing anymore, number one. And then number two, the amount of travel that went into that and being away from my family, and especially when my family needs me with all these old people around that need our help and support, it's not really very realistic for me to go to Palm Springs for a week or for me to be and I have a full-time job, so I can't really take time off of my job to do that job, right? And go into and consult at another school district, right? So I still speak at conferences. If you want to come see me at a conference, you can look. I speak at Q, and I've spoken at, a couple of different Palm Desert tech conferences. So there's that, but I was really hoping for something that I could do on my own time, and again, not have a boss necessarily standing over me. So I still do the freelance writing. I still, put that out there. But I think I was really hoping that this would take off, and it obviously isn't. But I enjoy doing it. And that's the other thing. Like, this is something that I enjoy doing. And there's a lot of question. I know, like, my family, 1 minute, my daughter, she's doing the whole Salish video thing and the challenge, and you can see her talking with Jordan and Salish. And she's like, I want to be a YouTuber. And then I'll bust out the camera. And then she's like, no, I don't want anything to do with this. Put it away. So, she doesn't really want any part of this. And my husband wants zero. He's got no social media. He wants nothing to do with any of this. So the support, like, you're not making money off of it. You're not really, why are you doing this? But it's because I like putting videos together and I like doing it. But it's totally a hobby. It's not something that I'm dedicating time to something that is truly a hobby for me. So there's that aspect of it. But it does take time, and that time could be spent doing something of a side gig. And I think the idea with the side gig is it would alleviate that pressure of, like, if I get fed up, I can just leave. I can quit doing yearbook. I'd be like, I'm walking. And I don't really feel that I have that security, or that I can say that. So the next thing on my list of things that I would like to try, because I've done the acting, I've done the modeling, don't laugh. I did. I would like to read audiobooks. And so I'm going to set up an account to just put it out there. I'm still among, you're like, you're going to read audiobooks? You just fell over your own words. You're not even reading. No, I am still SAG-AFTRA. I still am a member of the union. I was going to not be a member of the union. I was going to quit, but they make it really difficult to quit. Maybe there's paperwork involved. I don't know, but they keep, pay your dues by October 31st, pay your dues by November 15th, pay your dues. Like, they just kept hounding me. And finally I'm like, fine, here's your $118, because I don't work anymore. But I was like, fine, whatever. But then I'm like, hey, maybe I can read for Audible or for Bookature, whatever it is that has audiobooks. So let's see where that goes. I don't know, but I would love to have a job where I could make my own hours, and I think there are two things that I would really like. I would like to be able to make my own hours so that I could participate more in some of my daughter's activities at school, get involved while she's still young, be that mom, that does all that fun stuff. And I would like to not have to deal with discipline, because I loved teaching online, because there was no, okay, everybody be quiet, put your phone away. It wasn't in my direct sight, or it's, in my mind, they were all sitting there happy, healthy, like smiling and participating. I've become a little disillusioned with the lack of participation in class when I ask the kids a question and they just sit there and stare at me and they don't have an opinion. And then the discipline of, like, stop cheating, stop looking up your opinion online, put that away. No, you can't do that. Stop talking. Like, that stuff. I'm just over it. Like, just show up and do what you're supposed to do, please. Or don't come. Like, just don't come. And I don't really have, like, I have got good kids this year. It's just in general, and then the yearbook thing, and in a perfect world, and the older I get, I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of, like, and I just want you to understand what discipline looks like in a public school setting. There is none. There's none. I cannot send a kid out of my room. I cannot send a kid to the office. I cannot send, like, there's nothing I can do. If a kid it hasn't ever happened, but if a kid were to jump up and yell, F you, I can call security, and then security would remove that child for a moment, and then I would have to write it up, and it would come back to me, and the kid would be counseled and told that that was naughty behavior and would be right back in my classroom. Nothing. And if I wanted to go further with that, I would be told, well, did you call the parent? Did you do it? So everything is up to me. There's nothing. I can't say the kid needs to be removed. I can't say the kid would not be suspended. Oh my goodness, no. There's like very little that a child could do to be suspended. It's always counseled by somebody else, and then that's it. That's the end of it. The only thing I have personally seen a kid be suspended for in the past probably 5 years is bringing a gun to school. You have to actually bring the gun to school, and then they were expelled. That was it. So other weapons, I believe you just get counseled. I think maybe suspended for a day or two, but then you're right back to where you were before. So everything, it lays on your shoulders. And so you have to pick your battles, and it's 100% up to you to take care of your own discipline. So it's exhausting, and can be exhausting. So this whole yearbook thing where I have a deadline in a week and I have a bunch of kids that just don't pull their weight. I failed a ton of kids first semester in yearbook. Yearbook students failed more than any other class. More kids failed yearbook than language arts. Because the quality of kid that they put in there is just anyone and everyone. And so if the kid, and when we look at their grades, because they're older and I have sophomores and these are seniors, when I look at their grades, they're failing everything. It's just F, 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 F. But they're in yearbook because that seemed like an appropriate place to put them. So it's exhausting, and I think that's probably why I'm feeling a little depressed going back. And hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight of what teachers go through as well, because, as soon as something happens, it's always the teacher's fault. Like, why didn't the teacher do this, or why didn't the teacher do that? And our hands are just really tied. We have no power. The only thing we can do is try to establish relationships with these kids. The only thing I can try to do to get these kids to work for me is be like, do you understand that you're making me do your work for you? Do you get that? And I don't know that they care, because they might have other things going on. They might have a perfectly legitimate reason as to why they could not get their work done. But if they have other stuff going on that would prevent them from creating a yearbook page, then counselors can't put them in that class. There are other classes that they need to be in, because somebody has to do that work for them. So for the rest of the day, it's the end of the vacation. My daughter has talent show practice in about an hour. She's going to do a talent show with her friends. And it's for her school. And again, like, I would love to be more involved with that, but I can't, because I will have to build. I'm looking at probably about 7 spreads. 7 spreads is 14 single pages that I'm going to have to do, because my student editors, I can give them the pages that are kind of wonky, that have like that have the information, but that the information, it's misspelled, it's in the wrong font, it looks kind of funky, this picture is like, needs to be cropped in a little bit closer. Like, that kind of editing I can give to my student editors. But when it's just blank and there's nothing there and I have to start from scratch, that's when I need to go on my conference periods and start looking around and be like, I need a picture of you, I need a picture of you, I need this, I need that, I need an interview with this kid. And, I'm the one that has to basically do all of that when kids don't come through. So that's where we are, and it's kind of depressing. But I'm trying to keep a positive attitude. And we got the old people. My dad is just, he's difficult. He's very difficult. And it's a lot. It's a lot on my plate. So trying to stay positive. And we did get the Labubu this week. If you go into my shorts and you could see the whole story. It was crazy. I mean, that was a highlight, right? Like that was definitely good. I did not get anything from the new Louis Vuitton collection. Rainbow is not really my thing. The only thing I had my eye on was the mini pochette, but it was sold out by the time I even got anywhere close to it. Daughter's work permit parented. That was the whole point of being in here, and hopefully everybody has a good week. I'll give you a yearbook update. I'm gonna try to carry this camera around with me a little bit more this week and do updates just to keep me focused. I feel like it sometimes helps me to keep focused because I can vent and then I feel a little bit better. See, I feel a little bit better now. If you listened to this whole rant, I sincerely appreciate you. I really do. But that's all for today, and I will see you next week.